Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jo Onuk. Hi, welcome. It's been such a very long time. So today I'm going to batch create in case you see me in the same clothes or if I have time to change. But if I don't, you're most likely going to see me in the same clothes in other videos after this. So guys, that being said, let's get into today's story. So today's story is about Marie Paolilla. So guys, in case you can hear some construction noise like opposite my house, they are tearing down a building. So in case you can hear like machine noises, it's affecting my brain. So I hope the mic doesn't pick up on that. And again, if you hear another, I have a cat, a kitten actually. I adopted him when he was 5 weeks old. In case you're not subscribed to my second channel, it's called Joella Mina. So you can go there and subscribe. So I never knew so many things about cats till I got one. The kitten, his name is actually, yesterday I actually thought it was a she because I saw things like characteristics of a female cat and the behavior is more like is leaning towards a female cat. But my best friend thinks that he's a she, so maybe he's non-binary, but then the vet thought it was a he and she. I don't know, it's just confused. Everybody's confused because even the personality of my cat is confusing. But that being said, so today we are going to talk about the case of Paolilla. So coming back to my channel, I decided that I'm not going to I don't want to be doing like long videos. I just want to be doing like short videos, so this video may not be as long as you would expect it to be. I just want to do like short composed videos because apart from anything, secondly, I'm like 9 to 5, so I'm just trying to be realistic with myself. Maybe one day when I'm a full-time YouTuber, or maybe if I work fully from home, then I would look into doing longer videos. The fact that short videos does not mean it's going to miss vital points. It will not miss vital points, it will also have its vital points. So let's just get right into this video. When Marie Paolilla was 2 years old, her dad died in a construction accident. When her dad died, he left behind Christine and her older brother with their mom, Lori. When their dad died, Lori was widowed, she was penniless, and she didn't have who or where to turn to any longer, so she decided to turn to drugs. So it became so bad that CPS actually got involved and she lost custody of her 2 children, that's Christine and her elder brother, and she was then sent to live with her grandparents. 3 years down the line, Christine was actually diagnosed of alopecia. So in case you don't know what alopecia is an autoimmune disease that actually results to you losing hair. You could lose hair on your head, it could make you bald, you could lose hair on your eyebrows or your eyelash. I have a friend who has alopecia. I'm sure you know 1 or 2 people that actually do have alopecia. So she actually had alopecia, and due to this she was really bullied in school because of her appearance and because of how she looks. And then again, you guys know how merciless kids are, how merciless kids can be. So one time while she was in school, her schoolmates actually ripped the wig off her head, and this actually left her so humiliated. So because of her alopecia and because of the fact that she was being bullied in school, she had no confidence in herself. Almost every time she came home, she was crying to her grandparents because of what the children in her school were doing. After a while, her mom overcame her drug addiction and she found love once again. She remarried and then she came back to get her children. This family of 4, they moved from New York to Clear Lake City in Texas because they just wanted to start a new life. When Christine got to her new school, the bullying continued, but after a couple of weeks, she ran home from school excitedly one day, and then she told her parents of her new friends. So her new friend's name was Rachel Colorutus and Tiffany Rowell. So Rachel and Tiffany, they were actually a year older than Christine, and they were beautiful, they were smart, and they were like the most popular girls in school. So these 3 people became best friends. So you guys can see like someone who was always bullied, someone who lost confidence, being picked up and being polished by the popular girls in school was something that would automatically give her respect or gain her respect from other people, because when it comes to like secondary school or primary school, there's always some sorts of hierarchy. So like if like maybe the people that are being considered to be like the big people in school, when once they are friends with people who are seen as nothing in school. I'm so sorry for using that, but you guys know I'm all like at the bottom of the hierarchy. Automatically, the respect gets the respect for the person who they kind of picked up actually increases, even though some people may not agree with it, but because the popular person in school or the popular people in school actually are friends with them, for some reason every other person conforms to this. So that's what actually happened when it came to Rachel, Tiffany, and Christine. So these three people, they just became best friends and they did everything together. So unlike how in some movies where like the popular people actually bully the person that they became friends with, that was not the case when it came to Rachel and Tiffany. So when it came to Rachel and Tiffany actually took Christine to go shopping just to make her feel good. They taught her how to do makeup. They taught her how to do makeup so she would fit in. They went for a shopping spree. They got her new clothes, new wigs. They took her to be like their own person. So Christine, it was a case where Christine went from the case of being an outcast to where she was actually being voted as Miss Irresistible. As things went on, like I said earlier, Rachel and Tiffany, they were a year older than Christine, and not only were they a year older than Christine, they were also in a class higher than Christine's class. So Rachel and Tiffany had graduated, and at this time Christine was 17 years old, so she found herself alone again. So she was alone because obviously her friends have graduated and she felt like there would be nobody that would fend for her or look after her. So as time went on, she just started becoming envious because she watched her two friends as they were packing for college, as they were about leaving her, and they were, ready to begin their journey into adulthood. So you guys, I don't know if you guys felt excited after you left secondary school to college or universities. Like me, from secondary school, I went straight into university. I was excited, but not really excited because my university was a private school and like there was just so many limitations to what I could do. But then again, and then it was not like I had to stay. It was compulsory for you to stay on campus in my school. So like I was not really excited, but like for people who went to like schools that allowed more freedom, I would think that when you were leaving secondary school to university or college, you would be very excited. And that was the case of Rachel and Tiffany. They were very excited to leave secondary school or leave high school. I don't know I don't know the hierarchy it's called in the United States. So they were so excited to leave high school and go into college. And with this in the background, they didn't know that their friend Christine was jealous anytime they brought it up. But as time went on, Christine started dating a 21-year-old man who was a heroin addict, and his name was Christopher Snyder. During my research, I felt like this part was, brushed up like, oh yeah, Christine just went into a relationship with a 21-year-old person. She was 17, she was not yet an adult, and she was with someone that was 21. I could say, okay, like maybe 4 years difference or anything, but like by law, that is not even legal by a law. In as much as it can be like, oh, it's a 4 years difference, like by law is not actually legal. That was very illegal. But like when I went through like my research, I just found that many cases were just brushing this off like it was a normal thing. Anyways, when she was 17, she was dating a 21-year-old guy named Christopher Snyder. And not only this guy was not what it seemed he was a heroin addict, and she met him when he was in 8th grade. So he was the kind of person that no parents would want their children to or their daughter to bring home. Her families, they didn't like him. Rachel and Tiffany, they actually did not like him. He was reported to be arrogant. He was reported to be possessive. It was reported that he had like a very lengthy criminal record. Like I said, this man was an adult and he was dating somebody in high school. I don't care if it's a 4-year difference. He is an adult and he was dating someone in high school. There was a podcast that I listened to. I can't remember the name of the podcast. It was a podcast I listened to in relation to this case that actually said that his family said that Christopher was the aggressor, the possessor, was the one who was always angry and jealous. But then again, Christopher's family actually said that it was Christine that was the aggressor, that was always angry every time. But I don't know, part of me is saying that it's Christopher because then again, he was an adult. Again, what I did with a child, like this should not even be a debate who was the aggressor. Like this was even wrong. Anyways, Christopher like had this long history of criminal records, like he was well known to the police, and he was a heroin addict. And because of this, he actually introduced Christine to the life of hard drugs at the age of 17. And before we know it, Christine was actually addicted to hard drugs. Later down the line, we will discover that Christine actually told stories that Christopher was actually very abusive, he was domineering, and he always raped and isolated her from her friends and families, which her families and her friends actually picked up on. Anyways, Rachel and Tiffany, they actually urged Christine to end the relationship because they didn't think the relationship was, a good relationship. They thought that the relationship was dysfunctional. They promised that, they told her that, see, I'm going to tell you, just end this relationship. There's somebody out there that's going to find you, that's going to treat you with dignity, that's going to respect you for who you are and for what you are. But the thing is, she refused to listen. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to tell you that I can kind of understand Christine, because being someone who she's been bullied all her lives, like literally all her lives, and it feels like the world was against her, when she finds something like this is, I feel like this was a case of Stockholm syndrome, where she feels like she can't find anyone better. One way or the other, this person is toxic for you, but for some reason you think you're not going to find anyone better, you're not going to be in a better place. Christopher is here saying Christine is the one that was aggressive, or Christopher's family is the one coming here saying Christine is the one that is aggressive. If I just glance at any other girl, she's going to get mad, she's going to be overcome with jealousy, she will be so fierce, she will slap him. And at the other hand, Christine's family is saying Christopher was the aggressor. But like, then again, as I said, no matter what, this should have never ever happened. Due to this, Christopher's family started calling Christine the psycho. You guys can see, like, Christopher's family started calling Christine the psycho. And then again, you've seen that your son or your brother is dating someone in high school. Like, shouldn't you even tell him and be like, don't do this, this is not right, this is wrong according to the law? Like, tell him not to do it. And even talk to Christine and be like, this is not the person for you, go and be with someone your age, or better still, wait till you find someone better. But no, they found pleasure more in calling her the psycho. Meanwhile, you're here. I don't even know what to say, honestly. I really don't even know what to say. So despite the fact that this relationship was useless and never should have happened, again, to their relationship, Christine found herself from, being Miss Irresistible to being Miss Mass Murderer. So guys, this is where I'm going to talk about the fearful and dreadful events that happened this day on July 18th, 2003. On 18th of July 2003, Tiffany and Rachel, they were hanging out at Tiffany's home with their boyfriends. Their boyfriend's name was Marcus, Priscilla, who was 19-year-old, and Adalbert Sanchez, who was 21 years old. Marcus and Adalbert, they were also cousins. At around 3:30 p.m., Christine and Christopher, they actually arrived in the home of Tiffany, and they came under the guise that they wanted to buy some drugs. But that was not their real intention. Their real intention was to kill the couples. And you know what breaks my heart most? This was not even predictable. As soon as the couple just walked into Tiffany's house, they just started firing. Rachel was actually shot in the bum as she tried to escape. So all of them, like all four of them, they were actually brutally murdered. In total, there were 40 gunshots that were fired. Rachel tried to run and hide, and she was shot in the bum. So she went to like a different room. She was bleeding out. So when Christine and Christopher had actually thought that they had actually fired the whole gun, they were about to leave, and Christine heard like whimpering from the room. And then she went in and she saw Rachel. Rachel was like trying to like reach out for a phone to call 911. Sorry, I'm in the UK, so UK is like 999. To try to call 911, and when Christine had seen that Rachel was still alive, reports said that she hit her on the head so many times, and I think she shot her again. I think she shot her again. After this, the couples, they actually fled the scene. So Christopher had actually dropped Christine in Walgreens for a shift behind the beauty counter. Guys, I don't know how she killed her friends in such a frenzy and just went to work like nothing happened. Like I don't know, that is the true definition of a psychopath. Because how how do you just kill your friends and then you just go to work and act like nothing happened? Like you literally met this guy a year ago, and today like you've killed your friends with this guy. And then again, I just think it's common sense that if you kill someone with your partner in crime, don't you think you will be the next? I feel like if I'm in a relationship with someone and then they bring up a proposal of killing somebody, I will be scared of you, because I'm like, if you can, like, try to do Bonnie and Clyde with me, then very soon one day it will be me. That is, I don't know. When news of the murders became public, Christine, she cried to her parents. She was very sad. She was so devastated. She was like, oh my days, I miss my friends. And because of this, she refused to go for their funeral, because she said that if she goes for her funeral, she would be too upset. So she refused to go for their funeral. All the while, nobody actually knew that this girl, let's not forget the age of this girl. This girl is still 17 years old. So all the while, nobody had the idea that this girl, who was shy, who looked responsible, was actually the one who was responsible for the massacre. Like, nobody knew she's the one who killed her best friend. Like, her best friends, like, nobody knew. Like, you wouldn't even have guessed. I'm sure, like, the funeral date, when she was like, oh, I don't want to go, I'll be upset, I'm sure she was even being consoled. But I think she didn't want to go because obviously she didn't want to, face the body of her best friend. So she didn't go. And like, people actually did understand and were like, yeah, she just lost her best friend, let her just like relax, not knowing that she was the killer, which is so scary. During the murders, this couple, I don't know how they did it, they left no trace of evidence, so nobody actually knew that it was them. Over the years, Christine and Christopher, they just lived their life like nothing happened. Nobody suspected, nobody knew of anything. And shortly after the murders, Christopher was sent to jail because he was caught stealing a car. And Christine also, during this time, she actually admitted herself into rehab because obviously she was a drug addict. So in rehab, she actually met a heroin addict whose name was Justin Roth. So during this time, Christine and Justin, they became close together, and in 4 months they had actually gotten married. And then she used the $360,000 trust fund from her dad's death to purchase an apartment of 2. Life with Christine was going good as normal. She was married to Justin. She was living in this apartment with her husband. Everything was going well. But years after this had happened, the case was reopened, because obviously the case went cold. The case was reopened. So what people did not know was that during the time that this whole massacre had happened, the neighbors of Tiffany's neighbors, they had actually seen a suspicious couple, wearing black, entering their home. So due to this, they were made to do like a sketch, like a suspect sketch. So this sketch actually came into play in the unraveling of this case. So one day, Christine was in the sitting room with her husband, Justin, and they were watching news, and then she saw a sketch of herself. Obviously, on TV, they had brought a sketch of the suspects that may have murdered Tiffany and Rachel and their boyfriends. And then she saw the sketch of this person, of herself, on the TV, and she was wanted for murder. So during this time, Christine, she actually panicked, and then she asked her husband, she was like, does that sketch look like me? And husband's like, what do you mean? That does the sketch look like me? And he's confused. And then this is where Christine actually cracks, and she tells her husband about the whole secret and how everything happened. And due to this, the two of them, they actually fled the apartment and they went to stay in hiding in a St. Antonio hotel. While they were here, Christine and her husband for like 7 months. They never left the room of the hotel. They really, really panicked. And not only that, they were like smoking. They went back to heroin. They were, I don't know if you smoke heroin or you drinking heroin. Anyways, the couple, they never left their room, only but they were like, they went back to drugs for 7 whole months every day. And there was a report that I read that they were spending $500, I was about to say pounds, $500 a day, $500 a day on drugs, like $500 a day on drugs for 7 months. Do you know what you could have used that money for? Anyways, so they spent $500, up to $500 a day on drugs, and for 7 months they were in the hotel. They never left the hotel room. But behind the scenes, Justin, he kept having nightmares because of his wife's confession. And one day, an anonymous caller called the police and said that while he was in rehab, that Christine had, confessed everything to him. But this anonymous caller, we all know, was her husband. So on July 19, 2006, literally 3 years and a day after the raid of Tiffany, Rachel, and their boyfriends, the police actually raided the motel. Sorry, they stayed in a motel, not a hotel. The police actually raided the motel where they stayed. And once they raided the motel was smelling like, oh my days. There was like this foul odor, there was this stench, and this stench was as a result of the syringe and the drugs. And when they went inside, there was like hundreds of drugs and syringe that was scattered throughout the whole motel room. Also, they saw Christine. Christine was high, her shirt was stained with blood, and she was actually arrested and charged with 4 counts of capital murder. On the other hand, Christopher, at this time, he was living in Greenville, South Carolina. I say Carolina. On the other hand, Christopher was living with his girlfriend in Greenville, South Carolina, when he learned that the police, they were actually looking for him. So due to this, when he found out that there was a warrant for his arrest, he ran away, he ran into the woods, and he committed suicide by overdosing himself on prescription drugs. His body was found on August 5th, 2006. Guys, if the light is going darker, I'm in London, where the weather has a mind of its own. I'm in the UK, where the weather has a mind of its own. I have actually watched the investigation, so I'm going to put a link. It's everywhere on YouTube. I'm going to put a link of when she was being interrogated by the authorities, by police, after she was caught. I'm going to put a link, so if you want to watch it, you can click the link in my description box and watch it. Anyways, in the jury, Christine, she was very tearful, and then she told Christine that it was all Christopher's idea, that she had no idea that Christopher was actually planning this. She was like that she did not intend to kill anybody, that she didn't plan on killing anybody, that once they went in, he just started shooting. She said that she was terrified of Christopher at that time, who, gave her a gun by force and told her put inside her hand, and then put his hand over hers, and then press the trigger, killing her friends. So obviously Christopher is not here to debunk or claim what Christine had said, but she put everything on Christopher. So if you watch interrogation, you're going to understand more. So she was like that she was very innocent, it was not her, she didn't do that. But the prosecutor actually told the jury that they had an evidence that the 2 guns were fired, and these 2 guns were actually fired simultaneously. That means it was being shot at the same time. So that means there were 2 shooters involved in the case. And also, during her interrogation, Christine admitted to shooting the gun on her own 1,000,000 times. So even though she went in front of the jury saying all these things, at the end of the day, she was telling lies. She was actually lying. Anyways, in the end, the person's testimony that actually filled the fate of Christine was that of her husband, Justin Roth. So basically, in her confession to her husband, she told her husband that they had planned it prior to them even going to the house. She told her husband that after they had shot everybody, she went into the house again to ensure that all the victims were dead. Just like I said before, that's when she found out that she saw Rachel was crawling to get a nearby phone to, call the police. And this was when she bludgeoned and hit Rachel so hard. She bludgeoned her to death with the gun. And while she did this, all Rachel could do was to cry out loud and ask her. She was like, why are you doing this? That was what Rachel asked her, which honestly, I don't me too. I'm like asking, I'm like, why would you put a man over your friends? The people that do it, and I've done it before. I'm not gonna lie. Not like not in a toxic way, but like sometimes like it's easier for you to say no to your friends when they want to hang out with you than you saying no to your man or your partner. So it's just a thing where, like, in this case, I would never ever, like, I cherish my friends like this, so I would never ever agree to kill my friends. Anyways, that being said, because of this testimony that Justin Roth had actually told her husband, this was what just sealed the whole case. On October 13, 2008, Christine was convicted of 4 counts of capital murder. She was sentenced to life in prison at Mountain View Unit in Gatefield, Texas, where she remains to this day. Guys, that brings us to the end of our story. If you guys enjoyed this, kindly leave a like, comment, subscribe, everything. I would be so grateful, and I'm sure that was as short as I could make it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate